Hello, this is former Commissioner Randy Morris. In the next half hour, we'll be presenting to you the past, present, and future of the Seminole County Trail System. About 10 years ago, a grassroots movement started in this county by citizens who came together and outlined a trail system that would cover all 7 cities and unincorporated county. It is that trail system that they designed that later went to public referendum in the year 2000. In the year 2000, the Seminole County Commission chose to go to the voters and ask them if they would support financially building the entire trail system as it was laid out. The voters overwhelmingly approved that support, and has become one of the most popular programs that the county government has offered its citizens. So now let's join our award-winning staff, who will show you the opportunities the Seminole County Trail System offers you and what the future holds.
Each day, Seminole County residents walk, bike, inline skate, and hike more than 40 miles of trails that crisscross the county, following the same pathways carved by the railroads more than a century ago. These same railbeds, once the main mode of transportation, have evolved into modern-day recreational parks and alternate transportation routes for the 21st century. From the late 1880s to the early 20th century, you could hear the whistle of the Orange Belt Rail as the train made its way along the same path, now paved and populated with people out for a stroll, a run, or a bike ride. Today, it's known as the Seminole Wekiva Trail, one of several paved urban trails in the county.
The Seminole Wekiva Trail is constructed on what was the old Orange Belt Railroad, which was built in 1888. It was the longest narrow gauge railroad at the time. It extended from Jacksonville to St. Petersburg and was built, or the primary driving force was Peter Deming out of Longwood. So it has some historical features involved with it.
About that time, Henry Flagler, a real estate and oil tycoon, invested in an old railroad linking Florida's East Coast from Daytona to Key West. It became known as the Florida East Coast Railway. Today, this unpaved trail carries his namesake, the Flagler Trail. It will run 21 miles from the Orange County line in Chuliota to the St. Johns River north of Lake Harney.
The Flagler Trail is part of Henry Flagler's trail system that helped develop Florida in the early 1900s. The trail was abandoned in the 1930s and then later purchased by the Florida Department of Transportation in the 1950s. Seminole County purchased it from the Florida Department of Transportation in 1984, and that became the Flagler Trail, which is our wilderness trail on the eastern side of the county.
If you can imagine, in the heyday of railroad travel and transportation, the heart of civilization revolved around these corridors painstakingly cut from the wilderness in the late 1880s. Today, the result is a modern-day trail system rich in cultural and natural history.
You know, a walk along the trails is quite literally a walk through history. Every so often you'll come across one of these Seminole County historic markers. Here at the Markham Trailhead, we see a marker that talks about the history of the Markham area. Who were the early settlers? Why is this place here? It's fascinating.
We can thank early trailblazers for Seminole County's rich past and early infrastructure, but its present and future perks of civilization are credited in part to a group of modern trailblazers. They are Seminole County engineers, and they design and build this extensive trail system.
Well, the beauty of the Seminole County Trail System is that it connects to our public facilities within the county, such as parks, natural lands, and other public facilities such as schools and libraries.
It's no easy task to blaze a trail, paved or unpaved, even with the help of foundations laid by railroads of long ago.
Railroad beds are good candidates for the trail system because they're typically long and level with few interruptions. Therefore, the user can experience quite a distance before he has to worry about roadway crossings or other interruptions in their route.
The Seminole County Trail System is a work in progress. County engineers design and build the county's regional trails, known as showcase trails, with smaller trails maintained by other entities.
The trail system it starts off with a vision, basically. We get with planners, we get with landscape architects, we get with permitting agencies, everybody that's involved to make these trails. And we sit down and study that. Once we have that in place, we hold public meetings. The public meetings are designed basically to let the public have an input on the trail systems.
After county engineers finish building the trails, the county's Parks and Recreation Division handles the maintenance of most of the trails.
In some instances, Natural Lands gets involved in naming that instance is basically the Flagler Trail. It runs through Natural Lands property, and it also runs through Division of Forestry property. Natural Lands has picked up the maintenance on those portions of trail to just give parks a little break.
One of the unique things about the Seminole County Trail System is that it can be used as an alternate to highways or roadways. Imagine the gas money you'd save riding into work on a bike or inline skates. It kind of gives a new meaning to morning commute, doesn't it?
When we developed the master plan for the trail system, we designed it to be connective. That would allow people in all parts of the county to get on one or another trails and link to other trails in the county, which would alleviate getting in your cars and having to go somewhere. We use these trails strictly as non-motorized vehicle trails.
The benefits of having a trail system are that you have a place for recreational activity in a separated area in an urban setting, is that people do not have to travel for hours to get outdoors and enjoy nature.
Trails also make great neighbors. Just look at the enthusiastic response the Reinhardt Road Crossing Trail has received from area homeowners. This paved connector trail in Lake Mary was adopted by a group of volunteers who raised money to beautify it. They created exercise stations, rest areas, and enhanced landscaping.
We've actually studied the assets of trails to the neighborhood properties, and we've found that it does increase property values to adjacent property owners. The other thing that we like to think of is that it does bring people together, as in days gone by. People nowadays just don't seem to get to know their neighbors, and trail is a good place to get to know your neighbors.
To get a better idea of the lay of the land, let's look at the master trail map. You'll see that the entire trail system is linked together by three major or showcase trails, which are the Cross Seminole Trail, Flagler Trail, and Seminole Wekiva Trail.
The primary trails will run distances of 20 miles or so, and then we also put together a bunch of smaller neighborhood trails along with bike lanes and sidewalks and things of that nature that link these things all together, which makes it very convenient and very easy for people to get on a trail on the southwest side of the county and travel to the northeast side of the county by strictly using the trail system.
So, let's hit the trails and check out some urban and natural experiences. We'll start at the southern end of the county near the Orange County line.
Here at the Snow Hill Trailhead in Juliota, you can pick up the Flagler Trail. Now this is also where the certified portion of the Florida National Scenic Trail begins. That trail piggybacks along the Flagler Trail up through the Little Big Econ State Forest.
Here, we caught up with Nick West and his friends who were headed out for a bike ride along the Flagler Trail.
Have a good one. It's very unique for Florida, having grown up in Miami in the city. You don't get to see the natural environment. It's very interesting, the historical background of the Flagler Trail, and it's just an overall great experience.
The Flagler Trail, as we learned earlier, follows the abandoned railbed of the Flagler Railroad and runs from the Orange County line near Juliota north to the Geneva Wilderness area. A 17-mile portion of the Flagler Trail is certified as part of the Florida Trail.
Florida Trail is a 1,400-mile-long trail that extends the length of the state of Florida. It's one of only 8 national scenic trails in the United States, and it utilizes parts of our Flagler, Cross Seminole, and Seminole Wekiva trails in going through Seminole County. We work with the Florida Trail Association, which is a nonprofit organization. They build and maintain segments of this, and the portions through Seminole County have been certified as part of the Florida Trail. We also use their signage to help guide hikers through the county when they're on the Florida Trail.
The Florida Trail runs through some county natural lands property as well as state forestry property. It's mostly unpaved except through the Winter Springs and Lake Mary areas, where it follows existing portions of the Cross Seminole Trail as well as existing roadways to reach the Seminole Wekiva Trail. Along the Flagler and Florida Trail, yellow trail blazes guide you down the main path while red blazes mark side trails. There are even boardwalks through the wetlands portions of the trails for hikers where it's not unusual to see a deer, a turkey, fox, even bobcat along this wildlife corridor. You may even encounter a few people canoeing along the Econ River. You can also enter the Florida Trail at the Barr Street Trailhead off CR 426 north of Oviedo, the Black Hammock Trailhead in Winter Springs, and the Markham Trailhead west of Sanford.
These trails provide ideal backdrops for bird watching, photography, off-road biking, horseback riding, canoeing, even camping.
Camping is permitted at 2 locations accessible by the Flagler and Florida Trails: Lake Mills Park and the Geneva Wilderness Area, the latter with a permit.
Here at the Geneva Wilderness Area, you can pick up the Flagler Trail. In fact, if you were to hike it, it would take you about 3 hours. Now at the trailhead here, you can pick up a Geneva Wilderness Area Trail Guide, which maps everything out.
Equestrians can also hit the dusty trails on horseback from several locations along Seminole County's unpaved trails. They are the Flagler Trail at the Geneva Wilderness Area and the St. John's Trailhead at the northern end of the Flagler Trail. For all other trail users, trailheads are strategically located throughout the county.
People can access the trails through several trailheads that we have located throughout the county, and also minor parking facilities. Now the difference between the two is the trailheads actually have amenities like water fountains, some have equestrian parking. The minor parking facilities, for the most part, don't have any of these amenities. If you want any more information about that, check our website. All that information, along with the location of the trailheads, is located on there.
Here at the Markham Trailhead, about a half-mile west of Lake Markham Road, we found biker John Malello heading out for a 15-mile bike ride along the Seminole Wekiva Trail.
I think the trail's it's nicely laid out, it's nicely manicured, it's definitely wide enough. I think it's like 14 or 15 feet wide, which is nice.
The Seminole Wekiva Trail runs from the Wekiva Springs State Preserve west of South Sanford to Altamont Springs. This mixed-use paved trail brings you equally close to Mother Nature and modern civilization.
Well, you see a lot of birds, horses, cows, turtles. Got to be careful of the turtles. Don't want to hop a turtle. But yeah, that all works into the whole experience of the ride. It's really nice.
Along the trail, you'll encounter lush vegetation, lakes, cow pastures, wildlife, and bird life, as well as nearby strip malls, I-4, and other evidence of daily life.
We've seen bald eagles, red-shouldered hawks. On the Seminole Wekiva, we have gopher tortoises, and some of the new trails along canals and stormwater ditches might even offer a view of an alligator or two.
The Seminole Wekiva Trail connects 4 parks: Westmont Park, San Lando Park, the Seminole County Softball Complex, and Sylvan Lake Park; 2 schools, Heathrow Elementary and Wilson Elementary, and provides access to Wekiva Springs State Preserve. The Cross Seminole Trail is a paved urban trail that winds through wooded areas rich in natural scenery, stretching through Lake Mary, the Spring Hammock Preserve, the city of Winter Springs, and the city of Oviedo, and connects to the Katy Way Trail in Orange County. There are 2 sections, approximately 9.8 miles each, that are open for use. But future plans are to expand the trail to 24 continuous miles.
Well, we're continuing with our trail system and very excited about the additional trail mileage we'll be incorporating into that system. Right now we're planning to complete 9 miles of the Cross Seminole Trail, which will extend the trail from Mickler Road to Redbug Lake Road, which ties into the Katy Way Trail in Orange County.
The trail passes through some interesting sites in Seminole County, including Big Tree Park, the Environmental Studies Center, and Winter Springs Town Center. At the I-4 pedestrian overpass in Lake Mary, the Cross Seminole Trail connects with the Seminole Wekiva Trail, linking the entire trail system throughout the county. This is a local landmark and an award-winning piece of civic architecture.
The Cross Seminole Trail, I-4 Trail Overpass, is an award-winning structure. The bridge itself is unique in Florida because it's a hybrid. It's a combination of a cable stay bridge such as the Sunshine Skyway Bridge over crossing Tampa Bay, and a suspension bridge such as the Golden Gate Bridge in California over San Francisco Bay.
Good morning. Now that we visited Seminole County's 4 showcase trails, perhaps it's a good time to talk about trail etiquette. Yes, there are certain protocols to using these public linear parks. Rule number 1, trails are open from sunup to sundown. Typically, you'll find a list of rules posted on signs at trailheads such as this. You'll also see them on the website. Now, here's a closer look.
Trails are not open for nighttime use. Trail users should keep right, pass on the left, give audible signals when passing, travel in a predictable and consistent manner, control your bicycle or horse, do not block the trails, yield when entering or crossing trails, do not use the trails under the influence of alcohol or drugs, clean up your litter, keep pets on leashes, and motorized vehicles are prohibited and subject to citation. There are additional rules for equestrian trail use. Please consult the website for equestrian rules and access locations.
We encourage the public to be aware of the trail rules. These rules are posted at all the trailheads, also on the Seminole County Trails website. The reason we want everybody to be aware is for their own protection and safety, and to keep the trails beautiful, keep them looking the way they are.
The success of Seminole County's trail system comes from a cooperative effort between local, state, and federal governments and volunteer organizations. You too can get involved.
Seminole County has a Trails and Greenways Advisory Committee made up of volunteers who provide input on future trail planning.
The Trails and Greenways Advisory Committee is a citizen-based support system for the county-wide trail system. It is made up of 15 people from various areas of the county and who represent different user groups for the trail system. Users such as bicyclists, rollerbladers, pedestrians, and equestrian users also. And that way we can meet their special needs as far as the trail system goes.
The Trails and Greenways Advisory Committee also appears at Seminole County Commission meetings for public input on decisions that affect the trails.
I think the citizens of Seminole County are fortunate to have such a countywide trail system. Between their support through tax funding and the county commissioners' interest in creating such a system, the citizens are served and have a certainly better quality of life here in Seminole County.
All right.
Although the trails are free and open to the public, it does cost money to blaze and maintain these paved and unpaved pathways.
The cost associated with constructing a trail is not readily apparent to the public. The cost is broken down mainly into 3 areas, the first being the acquisition, which is acquiring the property for the trail to be constructed in. The second aspect would be the design of the trail, which is more than just putting pavement down and going. You have to have full-blown engineering plans and construction plans so the contractors can build it. And naturally the third component would be the construction itself, which is going out and putting down the base and everything else and the final asphalt surface that you see out here today.
Well, our primary source of funding is the Trails and Natural Lands referendum, which was passed by Seminole County citizens in 2000. That provided for about $20 million for construction of neighborhood, city, and showcase trails, as well as $5 million for the acquisition of natural lands for preservation. We've also gotten funding from state agencies through grants and through federal appropriations.
The bond referendum aims to create an interconnected system of urban trails that spans more than 50 miles with connections to schools, parks, shopping and neighborhoods, and to the neighboring counties of Lake, Volusia, and Orange. It will also fund the development of a 20-mile network of wilderness trails and 4 pedestrian crossings.
By the end of 2009, we plan on having 3 overpasses and an underpass built to safely get people across busy intersections that we currently have targeted as potentially dangerous. 3 of them will be going over major intersections, one at Lake Mary Boulevard and International Parkway. The other one will be at 1792 and crossing over to General Hutchinson Parkway. We have an underpass going in at 434 and Markham Woods Road, and we also have another overpass going in at Howell Branch and Redbug Road.
Although the future of Seminole County trails calls for continued growth, one of the greatest challenges will be finding available land to create more connections.
The connections for the trail system primarily have been old abandoned railroad corridors. With those disappearing and becoming more expensive to purchase, we are looking at other options such as canal berms, old abandoned or unopened road right-of-way, any public lands that we may have and can go through to make connections in the future with our trail system.
Unless a property is donated, the county typically pays market value to acquire the land for new trails. Between the acquisition, design, and construction, it can cost more than $1.1 million a mile to create a new trail. But the benefits are hard to put a price on.
The trail system enhances the quality of life in Seminole County by creating opportunities for recreation in an urban setting. Being in an urban setting, we provide linear parks for citizens of all ages to get out from behind their TV sets, their computers, and enjoy Mother Nature and the beauty of Central Florida.
So the next time you're looking for some outdoor adventure or exercise, hit the trails. Chances are there's one nearby. Now, before we go, get something to write with. I'm going to give you contact information for programs and activities profiled in this show. You ready? Here we go.
For more information on Seminole County trails, such as maps, trailheads, and rules of usage, go to the Seminole County website. The web address is listed here. From the county homepage, you'll find a link to the Trails section for more information. Now, for those of you wanting to contact the Florida Trail Association, here's their website.
So I hope you enjoyed this program on the Seminole County Trail System. And also watch us grow in the next few years as you see the Seminole County Board of County Commissioners give you the best trail system in the state of Florida.